Hello my friends and welcome to a new video on our BN channel. This is unusual because as you can see we are starting on the website, which is the BeamNG website, on the forums to be exact. Someone on Discord, a cool viewer, he sent me a request asking me to test his he called it accelerators pack. He obviously made some automation cars, and he already exported them to BeamNG.Drive, and the inspiration for those cars came from Hot Wheels accelerators, as you can see, 2005. As we all know, Hot Wheels cars are extremely weird in their own unique way. Yeah, I mean, you look at their muscle cars, for example. They really don't they don't look like muscle cars. They look something weird, like chrome things sticking out, huge rims, weird exhaust lights, and weird specs. Like especially if you look at their hypercars also. I mean, they are like hypercars from space, not from Earth. Like lights, vinyls, crazy looking designs. And he made actually 24 examples of these cars, and he asked me to test them in BeamNG.Drive and see how they can actually drive. I've already driven them. Some of them are good, some of them are not, and let's go and explore them again, but this time together, and let's see which one you like the best. Because after you finish watch this video, tell me in the comment section which one did you actually prefer, which one of these 24 cars did you actually like. So enjoy the video. Let's go to BeamNG.Drive. Alright, so the first car that we are going to start with, it's called the Bass Lane, BASS lane, wherever V1, that's the name of it. Obviously it's a muscle ute, or yeah, it's not a pickup, it's a muscle ute, or I don't know what they call it. So it has a bed and it's a muscle car. So yeah, as you can hear, this thing has a V10 engine. I don't know the exact horsepower of this thing because he did not provide any any info, but let's see. We can see how much horsepower using the dyno figure. But as you can see, we are on the Top Gear test track. I'm not gonna time anything. I'm just gonna see how they drive. So the design, which is very important in Hot Wheels, I'm not seeing any design at all. I'm sorry to say this, but I mean, where are the like for example, Hot Wheels cars, they have like vents, chromy things sticking out, bunkerous exhaust systems. I'm just seeing a muscle car with a rear wing, twin exhaust, and tail lights are not working, or yeah, only the reverse light. Let's see, indicators no, brake lights no, headlights, they are working. Let's see, indicators not working. So yeah, not much details here. So let's see how this thing will actually drive. We have, as you can see, electronic stability control off. I turned it off. So apparently the engine can make 430 horsepower. Yeah, let's see. Wow, very short gears. So far so good. The handling is good actually. It's grippy. It doesn't want to spin out and crash. The engine is somehow powerful. Brakes are good. That's not too bad actually. I like the performance of this thing. This thing accelerates nicely and handles very good. It's grippy, the brakes are working, and it's not bad actually to drive, to be honest with you. It's not really that bad. Now let's move on with the next car. Okay, so the next car, this one, it's called the Battle Spec V1 1.0, that's the name of it. As you can see, it looks yeah, it looks like a convertible coupe or a convertible car. This is a convertible. Look at the vinyl roof. And as you can see, it has massive rear wing, single exhaust pipe. Let's see, what's the engine in this thing? It's an inline 4. Wow, how look at that weird combination. Now the engine, look at the graph of the engine. So the turbos will kick in at 4,400 to 500, which is really laggy. Then it just goes downhill. I mean, the horsepower, it's not that much. Let's see how much horsepower. 288 horsepower, or PS, that's what they call here. So 288 according to this dyno figure here. I'm gonna say 300 in automation, you know, in flywheel horsepower. But yeah, all right, let's see how this thing will perform. Wow, that's lazy. I mean, convertible cars are heavy. I really don't understand the concept here. I mean, so far it's not bad. Handles good because the engine is not that powerful, so the handling is not really an issue. Yeah, there is a little understeer, but so far it's grippy. It's loud. It's really loud actually. Brakes, they are working. That's good, because some cars that you will be seeing, you know, next, or maybe, you know, later, you will see that the brakes are not really working, or maybe no brakes at all. All right, controllable so far. It's not really that fast. We're only going 166, 170, so not much speed. Alright. The engine is low on horsepower, the car feels heavy, but it's grippy. It's not that bad. Now the design, as you can see, it's a convertible, which is, you know, which is a no-no, because it's gonna have a heavier chassis. And also that massive rear wing with a 4-cylinder turbo. I mean, it's not really appropriate, to be honest with you. It feels like a rice mobile, you know, a convertible 4-cylinder turbo, big fat rear with spoiler or wing, single exhaust, extremely loud. Alright, let's move on with the next thing. Okay, so the next car, it's called the Chicane 1.0. That's the name of it. Let's see, this thing looks actually, I'm not gonna say good, but it looks nice. It looks nice actually. The front end looks somehow good. Side mirrors, door handles, I mean, fuel filler cap. It has the necessary bits. As you can see, you can see the engine down there, which is a, let's see, 5.5, or so that means a V10. Yep, a V10. Looks good. The massive rear wing actually fits well. So let's see if this thing can actually work. But let's check the horsepower. It's naturally aspirated. Wow, doesn't want to get to 400, so I'm gonna say 400 horsepower. So let's see. It's all-wheel drive. Okay, dual clutch. Oh, look at the gearbox. The gearbox is shifting at 8,500 in the automatic mode. Well, so far it's nice. It's grippy. It's really grippy, which is nice. It's the steering is very precise. I like it so far. Yep. So the Chicane, actually, the name is appropriate for the performance. The brakes are good. You can brake late. that was too much speed. But this thing kept it very well. It's fast, as you can see. It's not that slow. Very good. I'm impressed. I like the performance of the chicane. It's actually not that bad. This thing is very grippy. It's really nice to drive. The steering is very precise. The horsepower is there. The torque curve is not that bad actually. A couple of issues. Headlights, as you can see, are not working. Yep. Indicators. Let's see. The rear ones are working. Nothing is working at the front end. No headlights, no indicators, nothing. The brakes are working. So let's see. Reverse light. Somehow it's working. So it's a nice car. Good work, my friend. I like driving this thing. Let's move on with the next thing. Okay, so this thing called Curvelight, that's the name of it. As you can see, looks absolutely unique in its own way. Look at that brake light back there. No reverse light. Let's see, indicators. No indicators. Okay, so yeah, the front. Let's check out the headlights. Yep, this single bit in the middle lights up, which is, I don't know, very weird. The front end is really weird. Let's see, this thing has a V12 under the hood, a twin turbo V12 making 584 horsepower. Alright, not bad. Let's see how this thing will perform. Very short gears, and yes, it can rev to 12,000, but the gearbox, since it's dual clutch and it can shift on its own, doesn't want to do that because the power peaks very early. But it's grippy. It's not that bad actually. It's not like the chicane, but it's not that bad. And it's not slow at all. Brakes are good, not bad. I always forget to brake at this point, especially with high performance cars. So it's not bad actually. I like driving this thing. The gearbox is a bit of an issue, or maybe not the gearbox, the high RPM. It has 12,000 RPM, but you know, useless RPM. Yep, it's not bad. It's not bad indeed. I mean, it has headlights, not bad, but it's really unique in its own way. This thing deserves actually 3 out of 10, but I'm gonna say 5 because we are judging Hot Wheels cars. So let's move on with the next thing. Alright, so this thing called Flathead Fury. Yep, as you can see, as you can hear also, it has a fat V8 in it, as you can see also. Looks like a racing V8, space frame chassis, obviously. It's not that bad. 700 horsepower V8. That's actually not that bad. Rear-wheel drive, I think. Sequential gearbox. Whoa, it's not stable. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's not stable at all. Let's try again. Brakes are somehow good. Aerodynamics are rubbish on this thing. And this thing has a teeny tiny oh my god, look at the brake. Brakes are fading. That's rubbish. All this horsepower and no brakes. And it's not really stable. Brakes are on fire. Oh, no brakes, no brakes. Oh, the brakes on this thing are rubbish, to be honest with you. Look, no brakes, and they are smoking. So yes, the horsepower is there, the engine is working really nicely, the gearbox is not that bad, but the gearbox ratios are allowing so much wheel spin. That's a no-no for like a 700 horsepower rear-wheel drive car. And let's see, the brakes are, as you can see, teeny tiny. They are not really, I mean, there are no brakes, as you can see. They are teeny tiny discs. And how do you expect these teeny tiny discs to stop this massive car? This thing is not light, and it's not really a small car, so you need big fat brake discs or maybe carbon ceramic discs to stop it. As you can see, they are still like 500 degrees Celsius, the temperature of them. No, I don't really like driving this thing. I can look at it, but no, not driving it. So let's move on with the next thing. Alright, so this this is called the Jackhammer. Now, as you can see, this looks like a Hot Wheels car. Look at that, you know, engine cover, chromey engine cover, which acts like a crazy bit. The car itself, check out the taillights, the mid massive exhausts. I mean, it looks like a Hot Wheels car, you know, ish at some point, which I like that. I like that, and because we are testing Hot Wheels cars, not regular cars, so this thing has a very big fat V8 under the hood, as you can see. I mean, really big. I mean, this thing was shoehorned to fit in this car. It has a ladder chassis, obviously. And let's see what we have at the back. We have yes, we have a solid axle coil. Oh, we have a solid axle coil and 4x4. So is this thing an off-road machine or racing car? Let's see. Wow, very grippy acceleration. Oh, I like the acceleration. This thing is grippy. I like it. 4x4, and it's really grippy. Steering is somehow precise, which is really good. Not bad. I think this thing has the same V8 from the previous car, I think. So yeah, it's not really precise, but it's good. It's grippy, looks crazy. It's like a crazy Hot Wheels version of a Lada. Yes, or a Trabant. That's really cool with a V8. And it's not slow actually. This thing gets on very nicely. The brakes are not overcooking. I'm impressed. First one that I like. Wow, first one that I like actually from the bunch. I would really love to take this thing, upgrade it, give it a little bit better suspension and different rims, but I want to keep the same chromey hood and those exhaust, mid-mounted exhaust. I like that. But as a concept car, as a crazy Hot Wheels car, I think it works. It's grippy, it's nice to drive, and it's fast. It's not slow at all. That's very cool. And no, this thing has a not the same V8. Let's see what horsepower. So 500 horsepower. That's good. Still a good figure. All right, let's move on with the next thing. So this one is called the Rat. I'm not kidding. This thing called the Rat I freed something like this. I don't know. So this thing has 1,000 horsepower. I think, I don't know. A V12. Yes, a V12. As you can see, 6 on each bank. So yeah, a V12. This thing is rear-wheel drive. So can you imagine 1,000 horsepower and rear-wheel drive? It's gonna be rubbish, to be honest with you. So I want to show you how bad the drivability is. So put it in manual, start gently. Look at that, 23% of throttle, and it can barely move without spinning out. Whoa, 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 whoa. This thing just shoots on its own. You cannot use 1,000 horsepower. I promise you. Even on a straight line, look at that. The suspension is rubbish. To be honest with you, the suspension has so much oversteer, and too much wheel spin is generated by the engine and the gearbox ratios, and the results are total undrivability. Let me shift it to the maximum gear, which is the 6th, foot hard to the floor, and yes, now we can somehow drive it. That's pretty much it. High gears only. Never go like to first, second, third. No, forget those gears. Look at that, 5th gear, and this thing wants to spin out on 5th gear. So 6th gear, okay, and smash the throttle. Yep, now it's drivable. Somehow. Oh my god, look at that. Oh, no, 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 no. No, that's totally undrivable. Yep, no, no, no. This thing doesn't want to be driven. And using also dual clutch gearbox, that also creates tons of problems in BeamNG.Drive, because when you shift the gear, it will spin out or shoots out of its course. Totally undrivable. 1000 horsepower. Yes, the engine is good, it's naturally aspirated, and it's making 1000 horsepower. That's a great thing. But no, this thing needs all-wheel drive, better suspension, better gearbox, just to make it work. Just to make it work, my friend. And I mean, this thing needs also fixtures. I mean, where are the fixtures? So design, I'm gonna say 0 out of 10, really 0, because what am I looking at? Only a fuel filler cap and 1970s El Camino, I think, or something, rims, nothing else. So yeah, 0 out of 10. Performance, 1 out of 10, just for the sake of the horsepower. That's pretty much it, yeah. So let's move on with another car and see how it will go. Alright, so this thing, it's called the Power Rage V2. That's the name of it. It's called the TQ, I think. So design, somehow it looks like a Hot Wheels car. Somehow it looks like, you know, the wing, the black hood, the front headlights, grills, the TQ word on the side, and of course the massive rear side vent. All these things add to a somehow-ish Hot Wheels car. So this thing has what, a 4-cylinder? Yep, a 4-cylinder. So a 4-cylinder turbo with 404 horsepower. Not good, not that bad. Rear-wheel drive again. Alright, shifting it manually. So acceleration, it's not that bad. First corner coming up, this thing shakes hard because of the brakes. Brake balance is not that good, but it's somehow grippy. It's still a rear-wheel drive car, so this thing wants to misbehave and oversteer. Testing the brakes. Whoa, balance is not good. Hammerhead. Alright, this thing coped nicely. Yep, doesn't want to drift. This thing wants to, when you lay into it, it wants to spin out, not drift. But yeah. The engine is powerful. A 4-cylinder making 400 horsepower. That means 100 horsepower per cylinder. That's good. And it's fast. Brake balance is rubbish. It's not bad actually. It needs a little tuning and it will be perfect. The styling is somehow unique in its own way and unique in its own Hot Wheels way. But it's not bad. It's not that bad indeed. It drives nicely, but the looks is missing some things. So good work, my friend. Let's move on with the next car. So the next car is called the Reverb all-wheel drive. That's the name of it. As you can see, this thing looks like, I don't know, a Hot Wheels version of a Lamborghini Diablo, I think, or Lamborghini Murcielago. I mean, this thing has the chromey bits, you know, for the engine cover, like every other Hot Wheels car, classic, as you can see, tail lights, and we have a massive twin turbo V8, V12, sorry, V12, and there's some crazy other bits. So the horsepower on this thing is 1086 horsepower, so I'm gonna say 1100. Let's disable traction control and oh, accelerates hard. I like it. It's really fast. Oh, that's good. Fast only, it's good, but needs to be also controllable. So the brakes are rubbish. Yes, they are not fading, but you need to brake not early. So you need to brake not late. You need to brake early. Usually, sports cars, they put massive brake discs on them so you can brake late. But this thing, no, you need to brake early. Like now. You can barely stop. Maybe because it's heavy, maybe the brake pads are rubbish. Oh my god, no. Get back, get back, get back. The engine is really powerful. The gearbox ratios are good. As you can see, this is 1000 horsepower with all-wheel drive. It's really controllable, but the brakes are ruining the fun. Look at that! I'm pressing the brakes all the way and early, not late, just to make a brake. Look. So with the time, you can get used to it. But this thing desperately needs better brakes. I like it. It's good. It's really fast. It's really aggressive. It's really angry. But the brakes are ruining the fun. As you can see, this thing has massive discs, but I think the pad type, or maybe how many pistons this thing has on the brakes? I think single or maybe 2 pistons, and that's not enough, especially on the front disc. Yeah, I think 2 piston. Let's check. Yeah, 2 pistons. 2 pistons on the front brakes, that's not enough. It needs at least 4 or 6 pistons to stop this. I mean, 1000 horsepower, my friend. So yeah, speed is gonna be an issue. All right, so this thing is called the Reverb V2. Now in the movie for the Hot Wheels cars, you know, that this guy got his inspiration from. This thing should have 815 horsepower, I think, and this thing has. So 791. Maybe this thing has 815, but I really don't get it why the RPM limit is so high, because the horsepower peaks early. I mean, here. This is just useless. So 7,300, that's where the horsepower peaks, I think. So why this thing has 9,000 RPM? I mean, the rest of the RPM limit is just useless. And it's rear-wheel drive because it's a muscle car. And I think this thing also manual gearbox. So all this horsepower and manual. So who knows? You need to control the throttle so you don't spin out. So acceleration is good. First corner, here you go. The tail, happy car, typical muscle. Alright, brakes are somehow good. That's good in a muscle car. Oops. I tried to control it, but no. Come on, stop spinning out. right. So this thing actually, you know, for a muscle car, this thing actually is good. Can you and remember, this thing has like 800 horsepower. So remember, 800 horsepower, rear-wheel drive. I mean, usually this recipe, 800 horsepower or more, and rear-wheel drive, it's a complete death recipe. I mean, you can't control it, as you have seen with the 1000 horsepower rear-wheel drive previous car, that was uncontrollable. But this one is actually not that bad. You can control it if you are a little bit, you know, cautious with your throttle, with your steering, and of course with your shifting. You need to know when to shift, and you can control it. I mean, this thing won't drive as, you know, like a track car. No, God no. But this thing for a muscle car, it's somehow nice, really nice. And I like this massive hood, chromey hood. It looks like, look at me, I have a big fat beef under the hood, which is true. Look at that massive V8 and those massive twin turbos. I mean, that's really cool. And space frame chassis, which is you know, apparently something with, of course, with the, you know, Hot Wheels car. And we have solid axle rear axle, which is really unique. So what do you think, guys? What do you think about this car? Which one of those cars was your favorite? Tell me in the comment section below. Which one of these cars did you actually like, and why? Why did you like it? The design, the performance, what do you think? Now, before we close the video, let me show you a car that is completely fail. Yeah, that was a complete fail, which is it's unique in its own way. Let me show you. So this thing called the RD08. As you can see, this thing looks like, I don't know, those compact SUVs. This thing has the, you know, the Hot Wheels style massive rims and thin tires. As you can see, the ride height is very high. Of course, no tail lights. We have some sort of headlights, which they look unique. Under the hood, we have a V10 twin turbo V10, which is good, right? But it's extremely laggy. So this thing is making around 800 horsepower. The turbos will kick in at 5,400, something like this RPM. That's really laggy. So the issue is not the engine, it's not the gearbox. Let me show you. The issue is in its suspension setup. So you accelerate hard. That's really good, right? Very good acceleration. You brake and this thing has the worst suspension setup ever. Look at that. This thing acts like a Reliant Robin. You know this three-wheeled car? Yeah, this thing wants to tip over. Look. This thing wants to tip over all the time. All the time. Let's redemonstrate again. So this thing accelerates really nice. Look at that. Wants to tip over all the time. So in a drag race, I think this thing will be awesome, but on a track day, look. I didn't steer. I just pressed the brakes, and this thing just spun out and tipped on its face. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know this was a very unique video, very unique cars, and some of you will say they are not really that good to look at, because yeah, they are very basic, no wipers, no details at all, but in their own unique Hot Wheels way, they look somehow nice, like that muscle car, like the previous V12 you know, blue Lamborghini-ish Hot Wheels car. They look good, to be honest with you, but they are missing the most important bits. So which one of these crazy cars was your favorite? Tell me in the comment section below. And thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you liked my videos and if you want to support the channel, the link in the description below for my Patreon page. If you want to check it out, and so you can download all my crazy cars, not these cars, no. If you want to download these cars, the link in the description below for their, you know, for their BeamNG forum. Yeah, because those are not my cars. Those cars are created by a cool fan. I'm gonna write his name right now. So yeah, he created them. If you want to get them, you get the link also in the description below. But if you want to support the channel, my crazy special cars like the V16 Queen, a car with a 4,300 horsepower, and like the Toyota AE86, and much more crazy cars, all these are on my Patreon page. If you sign up to it, you will be supporting the channel, and you can download those special cards that I mentioned to your own BeamNG.Drive game, so you can play them and have so much fun with them. Big thank you to the person who created those crazy Hot Wheels car, and big thanks also to the amazing people that they are my current Patreon subscribers. You guys are awesome for supporting this channel. Thank you so much guys for watching. I will see you very soon, and goodbye for now, my friends.